Well, the Odyssey is now out and in theaters, and apparently a lot of people like it. And that's the word on the street, as outlets are now reporting that the Odyssey's Rotten Tomatoes audience score, not the critics, the audience score is now a new record high for any Christopher Nolan film. Christopher Nolan, who I only think has 3 or 4 movies not in the 90% or higher audience ratings for his entire filmography. As a matter of fact, if we go over and take a look at the Rotten Tomatoes right now, you can see it's got a 95% critic score, but it's got a 97% Rotten Tomato score with 5,000 plus verified ratings. Now, again, we explain this a lot, but for those of you who might be new around here, the reason the Rotten Tomatoes audience score is the only valid audience score on the internet, and the reason it says verified ratings, is because a few years ago, Rotten Tomatoes implemented a system where somebody must be able to verify that they actually bought a ticket and saw the movie in order to vote. When you get onto audience scores on IMDb, any jackass who hasn't even seen the movie is allowed to go onto IMDb and just click 10 or click 0. So it's completely meaningless. Now, I'm not saying that the Rotten Tomatoes audience score is the be all and end all, but at least you know that the people who are voting are people who actually saw the movie. And out of the people who actually saw the movie, the rating right now is 97%. Now, how does that make and compare to other Christopher Nolan films? Well, if we go over and take a look, Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey now at 97%. That beats out his previous best, which was a 3-way tie for The Dark Knight, Memento, and Batman Begins, which were all tied at 94%. And then there was, of course, The Prestige, and The Prestige is sitting at 92%. This is how good Christopher Nolan is, folks. Christopher Nolan's 5th highest audience score is 92%. And by the way, there are some others I didn't even put on the list in number 6, 7, and 8 that were all still in the 90th percentile. But that's how good this is. So the audience that is actually going to see these movies, not everybody, it's not 100%, it's 97, but a vast majority of them are actually really loving this. Jonathan, I know you really enjoyed the film. Yourself, and I can't remember. You saw it in the IMAX format, did you not? No.
Not yet. Not yet.
You couldn't see it because the tickets were sold out.
The 70 millimeter, I'm gonna have to wait till like week 3, believe it or not, to grab.
I believe it,
because I'm getting multiple tickets. So it was Dolby, but yeah.
But you enjoyed it in Dolby.
Fantastic.
It's Christian, you and I. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Christian, you and I haven't had a chance to talk about Odyssey yet. Generally, what did you think about it? And I guess there's 2 levels to this question. One is, what is it about the movie that just seems that the vast majority of people seem to enjoy it so much? And then maybe a second level to that question for you is, what is it about Christopher Nolan films that seem to it's a given that people who go to see his movie, like over 90% of them are enjoying it? How would you address that?
Well, first of all, Nolan's a rock star right now. I mean, that's the main thing. John Roca on my show today said something really that I thought resonated with me when he said the generation today, he's like a mixture of like Spielberg and Kubrick put together, because he can make these high elevated kind of thought piece blockbusters that people want to see. And it's like a mixture of the 2 of those guys together. And I thought that was a really good way to put it, because he's doing things that Spielberg used to do in the 80s, right? Someone even asked today, and I would have this argument with anyone. I think he is a bigger IP right now than like Star Wars is, because Nolan is more of a guarantee to get people in the theater, and more people are interested in seeing that than The Mandalorian and Grogu. It's like, so when you get Nolan right now just has that hype of a big event thing. And it's always interesting to me, because I like to talk to people outside of our circle and other people, and not people either screaming on the internet or people who are into the movie news stories or everything too. There's the people who just go to see movies, or maybe see movies every couple of months, right? Like a friend of mine here who lives in Long Island, who I talked to, and he hasn't gone to a movie in a bit, and he's like, a movie I really want to see is that Odyssey movie. And this was months ago. My 14-year-old wants to see it. Like, everybody wants to see it. Right. And clearly from the weekend numbers of overperforming into that 126, more people want to see it, and more people want to check it out, because it's that experience of like, you forget you're in the movies and you're just there, no matter if you're there with the Joker in the room with Batman, you're in there with Leonardo DiCaprio when he's sitting there trying to figure out how to get back or what's going on with Mal. You're in there with Matthew McConaughey. You're just there with every moment and every little thing that he does, and he does it really, really well. And so it's everything. It's like that perfect kind of just package. And the answer to your question is I loved it. I thought it was I want to see it again because I'm a recency bias right now. It's in my top 4 or 5 of Nolan movies right now, but it could easily go up or maybe even down if I see it again. I'm not sure. But I just thought everything, I think it's Oscar Best Picture going to be nominated for sure. Matt Damon will be nominated. Anne Hathaway will be nominated. Ludwig will be nominated. He'll be nominated for director. So there's just so much to rave about.
Yeah, I was amazed because, you know, I took a look at this and I put this up on my Instagram. There was a 6 a.m. screening and it was sold out.
Oh,
6 a.m. on a weekday.
Those were some of the time slots I was looking at. I was like, do I have to do this? But
didn't matter anyway.
Yeah, even Spider-Man is like showing at like 7 a.m. Like these movies are going crazy.
Yeah, now granted, that was for an IMAX screen. It wasn't for a normal little 100-seat theater. We're not selling out, but still.
That's why I think the box office on this is going to have such legs because people are willing to wait for the IMAX experience. So that number is going to creep and creep because they're going into the fewer IMAX screens that there are. I mean, certainly people are going to do Dolby and everything else, but this movie's going to have legs because people are either going to want to go back for a larger format or they're going to wait for the larger format. And then to Christian's point on the generations, especially with Gen Z and Nolan, you know, Gen A showed up to Masters of the Universe because they showed up with their millennial and Gen X parents. Honestly,
did they show up though?
They showed up because they came with their parents. Their parents bought their ticket. They're like, I want to show you what I grew up with.
Sure.
And not many people did that. Gen Z was nowhere to be found for Masters of the Universe. But Gen Z is
they made up less than 12% of the ticket sales.
Yeah. They're all over Nolan films. So
all right, guys.
He's transcended. He's just been all the different movies that he's done, he stays relevant and he continues. Listen, what I always tell people, the guy made an almost $1 billion movie out of the dude who created the atomic bomb. Like that's not a that's normally a movie that shows up and you go, okay, it was a cool movie. It won a couple Oscars. It made $100 million. Maybe it made $70 million. It made almost $1 billion. Granted, it was with Barbie, but it still did the numbers it did because it was Nolan.
Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? The director who made The Dark Knight, who made Inception, who made Dunkirk, who made Oppenheimer, who made Interstellar, it turns out the Odyssey is his highest audience-rated film he's ever made in his career. Why do you think that is? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.